Let's be real. If ambition alone could replace your paycheck, especially if you are a high salary earner, a high figure earner, you would be rich by now, right? But you're not. That's why you're here. And I want to talk to you in today's video about why you're not there yet. Why hasn't it happened for you yet, right? And why does it look seemingly easy for others around you who you might be paying particular attention to, that they have actually been winning in this game, or this is their winning season, and why you aren't there yet yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we jump all in, whether you're new to me or true to me, thank you. Welcome or welcome back. I appreciate you being here. Katrina Marie here, also known as the Boss Chick Biz Coach and your fearless leader. Listen, I am a holistic business coach and an RN health and wellness educator, and I teach successful corporate career women and high achieving women entrepreneurs how to build an aligned and profitable online brand and business without sacrificing their health or their soul and sanity or compromising their health and happiness. Now, having said that, in order to, this is my philosophy and it's a hill I'm willing to die on, you cannot expedite your external success unless and until you heal internally. Facts. 100, 1,000, 1 trillion%. I believe in that and I stand firm on that. Having said that, that means we're going to start with a mindset shift because that's always important. And I don't want you to just see this from my lens and my perspective only. I also want you to actually take heed to what I'm saying today so that you can start to form a different way of viewing things when it comes to how we need to shift our mindset and our perspective. So see it from my lens today as you are hearing the sound of my voice, yes. But put this into perspective and put it into practice because these are going to be actually practical solutions that I'm going to give you today as to what you need to do to change your thought process around and get away from the mindset that you have now, like get rid of that old stuff, right? And make room for the new. So I do want to start by talking about mindset and money trauma because money trauma really does block six-figure earners from replicating income. And that is a very big reason, I would dare say the number one reason as to why you have not yet learned how to replace your income, especially if you are a high salary earner working still in corporate America. Okay. Now, this is also true if you are no longer working in corporate America and you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you still may be carrying some of that lingering trauma from both corporate America and perhaps from your upbringing, which is typically where it starts. And we're going to get into that in the latter part of this video. But the truth is, you're not bad with money. You really aren't, okay? And that is despite what you have convinced yourself of and what others might have told you, this is what you need to believe, or this has become a part of your belief system because it's, again, a part of your upbringing or what society has told you or people around you. Maybe you don't have the right people in your circle, or maybe you've just done a number on yourself. And if you've come from corporate America, they do a big brainwashing on us as well, okay? Because they don't pay us what we're worth. They cap us off at a certain dollar amount, right? They undervalue us. They underutilize our talents and our skill set. They, cap us off at a certain amount where we hit the proverbial glass ceiling and there's nowhere else for us to go. We climb the corporate ladder. And then we realize when we get to the top, we're not happy there. It's like, we have all of these, the whole alphabet soup of credentials behind our names, and we've gone to school to pursue that higher degree, only to find ourselves not only in debt for that pursuit of that so-called security of it, job security, right? But we are also not really satisfied or fulfilled in our roles, even when we make it to the level of success we thought was going to bring us the gratification that we were looking for. So a lot of us, myself included, I found myself in that predicament. And that is why I became what is known now and what I deem myself to be is a freedom strategist, and why I take a holistic approach in my teaching methodologies now, and I have for a long time, because I knew that there was just a better way of doing things as compared to how I was doing them before and what I had learned before, and the system that was broken that I bought into repeatedly. And all it did was fail me and betray me. Okay. So again, you're not bad with money. You're carrying money trauma because you were praised for example, saving pennies, but you were punished for desiring luxury. Okay, let me give you some examples as to what I mean by that. For one thing, if you at this point in your business or your career, if you're kind of navigating the best of both worlds right now, so to speak, like you're a parallelpreneur working a job and running a business, you are kind of sandwiched in between, right? Maybe at some point, be it now or in the past, not long ago or some time ago, doesn't matter. Okay, everybody's at a different place in the journey, but you may have been someone who wanted to invest or buy a coaching course, right? And you knew it was right for you and you felt like it was the right time and you wanted to take your business a lot further, faster, and you had heard through the grapevine, right, or in these internet streets, that people are talking about hiring a business coach in order for you to get there. And that is really true. I promote that heavily and I advocate for that wholeheartedly because that is similar, what I consider to be like shortcutting your way to success because you could take out all the guesswork, right? Now, what happened during that time when you were ready to make that investment is that your family and friends says, "Oh, girl, you are just too smart for that. You can figure this thing out," right? You already know enough, right? You don't need to hire a coach. What are you kidding me? You're going to waste that money. You're going to spend that kind of time on a coach when you could just Google everything. And I know, right? Like I didn't have family and friends tell me that, but I had that thought process myself where I thought, it ain't no way at all. I'm about to pay somebody my hard-earned money when I'm smart, I'm educated, I got all these fancy titles and degrees, and I went to school and I've run a business before, actually two businesses, non-related to what I'm doing now. And I was pretty successful, okay? And there's just no way I'm going to be paying a business coach to teach me what I can figure out. And that was a slow boat to China, honey. Let me tell you, okay? It was really too long. Like I could have been so much successful a lot sooner than I actually was. My business would have been more profitable sooner. And so for you started doubting your investments because of what your family and friends said. And oftentimes what happens is our family and friends, although they mean well, majority of the time, right? But still, they are projecting their fears on you when they've not had anybody around who has modeled what you're trying to do and nobody's done it before and they haven't seen it with their own eyes, they haven't experienced it, then they are going to tell you based on their limiting beliefs, right? And their own personal and professional experiences, what they think is best for you. Even though you had a gut feeling and you should have gone with your instinct or based on your research, and if you would have been surrounding yourself by people who would have been willing to empower you and offer you the kind of insight and clarity you needed, you would have invested in that coaching program or course or what have you, and you would be further along. So you started doubting your investment. That's one example, right? Another example would be you confusing budgeting with shrinking or playing small. Okay. And what I mean by that is, okay, let me give you an example this way. I had a client who was undercharging severely. Okay. And because she was in a really bad predicament, like she was complaining about all the things that she had to do and the responsibilities she had. And I just can't pull this off. And I'm working so hard at work and I'm never going to leave this job that she hated. And she was making great money, but she was undercharging because she didn't believe in what her work was worth and her own worth. She kept saying, "I'm behind on my mortgage. I really need to get this mortgage paid, and I've got all these things going on and these responsibilities." But the bottom line is, I want to be fair. I want to be fair to the people who may not have the money, who may not be able to afford to pay me. And I don't think I should be charging a high amount because I don't want people to think I'm being some sleazy, cheesy salesperson. And I don't like the way that feels and yada, yada, yada. Right. So she kept saying, "I want to be fair." And I said to her, "Girl, that ain't fair. That ain't fairness at all. Okay. That is financial self-betrayal, rooted in trauma because you think based on your own experience and based on your upbringing and the people you have in your ear constantly and those that you are surrounded by, your inner circle, the people you are closest to, feeding you a narrative that is keeping your beliefs very limited, and you have adopted that belief system and you convince yourself repeatedly that it's true when it's not. Okay, so that's another example. And then just one other example, because I want to just, you might be, you can plug yourself into one of these scenarios. And I always want to make sure that I'm kind of speaking to different, where you might be in the journey. Again, different people are in different parts of the journey, different phases of business, different levels of life. But I want you to see yourself in one of these scenarios that I'm giving you. Okay. So say, for example, you landed yourself maybe your biggest client, okay? Biggest client of the year, like you've never done this before. And you couldn't sleep for 3 nights in a row. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I am just losing so much sleep. Nothing to do with you being excited as you should be, right? But because you're panicking. Why? Because peace feels unsafe and struggle feels familiar. Okay, peace feels unsafe and struggle feels familiar. So we tend to repeat our financial patterns until we choose to heal that. And that's why I started the conversation off in my introduction by saying it is my belief, my philosophy, part of my teaching methodology that in order to expedite our external success, we have to do the internal work. Okay. That starts with the mindset, that starts with internal healing from any of that trauma that has built up, our belief systems, the limiting beliefs that we have, and all of that. Okay. I myself realized many years ago that I was actually carrying trauma myself. I had money mindset issues too, because it's about the relationship we have with money. It's about the stories we're telling ourselves. It's about the narrative we keep feeding ourselves, right? It's the people who we surround ourselves by. I was mirroring my mother's belief. I had adopted that belief that we had just enough to survive, but never enough to thrive. Because that was her upbringing and that was her experience. And she didn't necessarily teach, me that directly, but I observed her, right? I watched her, I heard her words. And money don't grow on trees. You got to work hard for the money. It takes money to make money. Money burns a hole in your hand. All of those kinds of messages, right? Again, that we hear repeatedly, we hold on to that so strongly, so closely that until we get rid of that and replace that old negative belief system with a new one so that we can stop operating from a place of scarcity and really and truly open up our belief system to the abundant life that we are dreaming of, desiring, and deserving of. So you want to think abundantly. You want to operate from a place of abundance, but you can't do that if you're operating from a place of lack and scarcity, always feeling as though there's never enough. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I no longer believe that, and neither does my mother. Why? Because we chose to heal that. And it really and truly is money trauma. Do you see what I'm saying? So those are very real examples I wanted to provide you with, because again, you may see yourself in one of these examples that I gave. And that's why it's so important to share stories, because, these are the kinds of things that if it resonates with you and you can see in somebody else's story where you are stuck right now, then you might be willing to operate from a higher level of awareness now, right? And start digging deeper into the trauma that you actually have so that you can discover and uncover and reveal whatever needs to be revealed, deal with that, address those issues wherever that is the issue stem from, the underlying issues, right? Especially if that's rooted in trauma, fear-based kind of things, that's all rooted in trauma, and actually heal that so that you can get better and have a brighter future, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk about is business models, because what you actually need right now is truly a business model, not just a bunch of offers. That's the other thing you're doing right now, that like you're just out there randomly throwing what sticks, or hoping to throw out something that sticks, right? As far as like your marketing strategy is really concerned, but it's not effective because you're just kind of randomly trying to see what works and what the people may or may not, invest in with you and that sort of thing. And that's where you're going wrong. Okay. What you need to do instead is decide on one and only one aligned and profitable business model, and promote that one aligned and profitable business model rather than trying to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks and have a bunch of misaligned offers that are not helping you reach your revenue goals. And so you're not consistently hitting that target. And maybe you don't even have a target, which is another problem, right? If you don't have a revenue goal, and kind of working your way backwards into the activities that you need to be doing on a daily basis, which is selling, right? Promoting yourself with that offer, position, or promoting the offer, but positioning yourself and speaking the right message to the right people that you can attract to you, rather than forcing just whatever you can figure out may or may not work kind of situation, because that is going to tire you out. It's going to exhaust you. It is not going to get you to to unimaginable heights like you envision for yourself. And you are going to stay stuck in this maddening cycle and wondering why you're not getting further ahead, even though you may have been at this business thing for a long time now. You see what I'm saying? So, and then I want to talk to you not only about business models, because that all has to be, that's wrapped up in pricing. And by the way, I teach high ticket for a reason. I want my clients that I work with, especially, doesn't matter if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, if you are just getting started, transitioning out of corporate into starting your own business and brand in the online space, or you're somewhere in between. Wherever you are in the journey, I'm meeting you where you are, but I'm always going to teach you high ticket first. Why? Because that is the fastest way to get you out of the current situation you're in right now. Replace your income, especially if you are a high figure earner. And if you are already in business, but you're not consistently generating revenue because you're not working on the high producing or any income producing activities that you need to be day in and day out to make the sales so that your business can cash flow, right? Flow cash, get clients equals cash, equals not just survival of your business, but your business will then thrive because it will then be profitable. And it wouldn't be just about the money you make, but the money you keep. Okay. That's a profitable business, not just the money you generate. That's one thing, but the money you actually keep so you can pay yourself after all of the operating expenses are paid. Understand what I'm saying? Now, common traps are undercharging, okay? Overworking yourself, sound familiar? Underutilizing your talents, or burning yourself out. Sounds a lot like corporate, does it not? Going back to that broken system you keep buying into, that I once did too, until I decided to build an aligned and profitable business for myself in exchange for my own freedom and leave the corporate arena altogether. But you're also having inconsistent messaging. So you want to, in your messaging, you want to repel the clients that you don't want to work with and that are not a good fit for you, okay? Because you're not trying to be everything to everybody and sell to the masses. You want to be focused on attracting the right people, and that starts with your messaging. Understand? Yes, you should have an offer in place that speaks to your clients, or the leads you're attracting to your ideal client avatar. You want to speak to their pain points. However, or in addition to that, in order to do that, you need to be attracting them, and that starts with your messaging. Okay. So stop undercharging, stop overworking yourself, stop with the inconsistent messaging. And in order to do that, you have to get crystal clear and laser focused on who it is you're serving, how it is you're serving them, and what is the actual solution you have to their problem or their desire or an urgent need that they have, in order to know that you are the right fit for them, be it that you are a coach, a consultant, a doctor, a nurse, a therapist, a health and wellness, coach or fitness trainer, or financial, expert, or whatever kind of expert or service provider you are. Doesn't matter. This works for any and all industries, but this is specifically for, you, if you are in the online space or that's what you're venturing out to do. This is going to work across the board no matter what. Okay. So now, before we get further into this discussion and before I jump into my next points here, listen, if you're getting what I'm giving and you love these gems I'm dropping, go ahead and leave a comment right now so we can get this discussion popping. All right. I want to know what hits home with you, what's resonating with you deeply, and what really is pulling on those heartstrings. Let's go ahead and continue the dialogue in the comments below. Okay. I want to make sure that we are always leaving the conversation open beyond this video. And by the way, if you are getting a lot of value from my content so far, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single episode whenever I drop new content and or go live. All right. Now, I just want to say I can go on with a bunch of examples, but I won't, because I don't want to make this video too much longer, but I do want to make enough. I want to give you enough practical solutions and real strategies that you can, and action or strategies, and make my points very practical and real to you, so that you can take from what I'm saying today, and in all of my videos for that matter, where you can then decide, okay, I can actually use what she's saying. And, and if I'm very systematic with this and I'm really following and paying close attention to the process that I'm taking you through, you actually can get a quick win. You really and truly can. The problem is most people will hear the information and they want the transformation, but they're not willing to do the work required to get the results desired. And that is where the problem lies. Okay. But that's not you, right? Because you are someone who's ready to take action, right? And that's what leaders do. Leaders lead. Leaders are fast decision makers, right? They're solid decision makers, fast action takers, and they go after what they know they need or what they desire, and they don't stop until they get it, right? That's an ambitious woman. So, but an ambitious woman who has structure, strategy, who wants the success that you envision for yourself, and perhaps that you see others that might be envious of or admire or what have you, you can get there. But you just got to do things in a way that's going to help you get there. And that's what I'm sharing with you in my content. Okay. So there are a lot of client success stories that I will continue to offer you in my videos. But when we talk about pivoting from a job, if you are in one right now, because I know that's not everybody's story, but you might still have your foot in the corporate America door, right? A little bit in the building, maybe a shoulder still over there, along with your part of your leg or whatever, and kind of halfway, the rest of your body's halfway out because you're really trying to get full time into your business and operate from, again, a higher level of awareness. Then this video will be really helpful to you. But when you're talking about pivoting from a job to a business, this is definitely the mindset that you need to have, how you need to focus your time and your attention and your efforts and your energy. And, we talk a lot about where you need to invest your money also, here on my channel. But I do want to just say the power of strategy, structure, effective strategies, sales, okay, and self-worth all combined. That's what you need to finally close the gap. Those three things, or I may have named four, and I think I said structure, strategy, sales, and self-worth. Those are the things that you need combined to finally close the gap. If you're lacking in any or all of these areas in any way, even a little tiny bit, this is where there's room for improvement, right? So that you can succeed in your business and elevate to new heights in life, especially if you're really trying to get to the next level and whatever that looks like for you. So, if you're ready to build your business, a business that matches your brilliance, not just the hustle, okay? Because we don't do hustle over here. Then I want you to book your Freedom and Focus Clarity call today so that you can get the clarity that you need and we can put you on your path to freedom by mapping out exactly where we need to go from here. Like, where are you right now in the journey and where are you ultimately trying to be? Again, so I can meet you where you are. And once we get to that point, then we can decide on other ways in which that I can support you along your entrepreneurial journey so that you can find the level of success and gratification that you dream of, desire, and deserve. And by the way, if you or someone you know identifies as being a Black woman, another resource I have for you is for you to purchase the replay to the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, especially if you want to see what's possible for you. Okay, I want you to go ahead and grab your copy today of the All Access Pass so that you have access to that for a year. Over 20 phenomenal speakers, beautiful, brilliant, brown-skinned women, all in the same virtual building. Okay, it was the event of the year, very epic and not something you'd want to miss. You can cop this for yourself. You can also gift someone. Like I said, if you don't happen to identify as a Black woman but know someone who does, then I would strongly encourage you to let them know about this resource or share this with them, gift them with it, whatever you want to do. Okay, or if that's you and you feel like you can benefit from it, then there will be a link in the pinned comments with both of these resources. Okay, so I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to share this video out with at least 3 friends and watch the next video that YouTube recommends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.